Tēnā koutou, kua huihu mai nei, ko Nick Tokuingoa, ko Emily Tēnei, ko tēnei taku mihi ke ngā tangata whenua o te rohi nei. Ka mihi hoki o ki ngā tohu o te rohi nei, nō reira tēnā koutou katoa. Kia ora, I'm Nick and I'm a transport engineer at the Strada with Glenn here in Otatahi, and this is Emily and she's a policy advisor at Te Manatū Waka, the Ministry of Transport in Te Whanganui o Tara. We are bursting with stride, and we did this research project in 2021 as part of our Resilient Cities class at the University of Canterbury.
So Nick mentioned that it's a university group project, and for some of you who may have done a group project like this, you may know that group projects come with their own team dynamics and can have their own challenges. Fortunately for us, this was not one of those group projects. This was the catalyst of a group of passionate urbanists coming together, so much so that we could have been mistaken for a dance group when we presented our final presentation. So our project brief was that we were to work with the Christchurch City Council, specifically the 8011 team, the team that were looking at ways to attract and retain city residents to the central city. And I don't think I need to go into many reasons why we chose walkability to do that. I think that's been captured across the last 2 days. But why did we choose older people? Well, firstly, you often hear about when cities and neighbourhoods are inclusive, that makes it more inviting and welcome for everyone. And we also heard about the concept of designing cities for 8 years old and 80 years old, and how that makes it more welcoming. So we decided to focus on the 80-year-olds. But also we're very aware that there's an ageing population, and we're going to have a larger cohort who needs more walkable, inclusive spaces and homes that are in these sorts of neighbourhoods. But also the 80-year-old cohort may not also have the choice to drive, and so we wanted to increase that accessibility. Now, I do want to be transparent with you. How we define an older person was that we considered anyone 55 years and older, and that was because we wanted to capture those in retirement, but also those who may be thinking about retirement and how they want to, and I've got Sarah looking at me with some strong looks, about what neighbourhood they wanted to live in and thinking about their future. So our aim, which is up there, was all about understanding the perceptions of walkability in the central Christchurch neighbourhoods for older adults.
Yeah, so one of the key ideas with age-friendly cities is that people can age in place, which is potentially why we were looking at that age group. Christchurch City Council has divided the central city into 11 neighbourhoods as part of their revitalisation and getting more residents into the central city. We chose the Victoria and Moa region of central North Christchurch because of the high number of older people already residing in that area compared to the other ones. And with these residents, we undertook a survey which was both online and in paper form, as well as interviews with a few residents. For this brief research project, the survey and focus group provided some understanding with 52 responses, and we treated it or consider it an exploratory study or a starter in a sense.
So I wanted to present our results with 3 key themes. Now, none of these themes are going to come as surprises to you because they're all very strong themes that relate to walkability. But what I do want you to take away is how they're particularly important for older adults. And so walking is a key form of exercise for older people. It's typically low impact, low cost, typically very accessible. But older people can have different safety needs. For example, they may take longer to cross a road. They may need a wider or longer distance between vehicles when crossing the road, or longer periods of traffic signals. They may be less able to manoeuvre around an unexpected hazard, whether that's on a footpath or whether that's moving on the street. And so streets can quickly become intimidating when walking as an older person, preventing walking journeys or journeys even happening at all.
So what we heard from participants was that there were a number of key specific barriers that they had that were related to walking. And the most frequently mentioned was uneven or broken footpaths. And the maintenance and renewal of these is just so critical. In my mind, it would be great to treat pedestrian injuries on footpaths as a road safety issue, and maybe we could fund it through those road safety budgets as well. Some other barriers that people mentioned. If you can imagine a footpath and there's a bin in the way, or a parked scooter, or a street lamp right in the middle of the footpath. Oh no, here comes a scooter coming towards me. These were all tangible barriers, but there were non-physical barriers as well that stopped people from walking. We asked about the fear of falling and found that a third of those who hadn't fallen on the street still fear falling. And I just think that's so debilitating, you know. I'm sure that leads to people not taking trips. We do want to recognise that the vast majority of our participants didn't have difficulty walking, and these key barriers that I have here would likely be amplified if less able or they had poorer physical health. But we found that walking was still so valued by our participants. 85% of them said they did over 20 minutes of walking a day, which is a whole lot more than the rest of Aotearoa.
So our second theme is about having appropriate amenities within walking distance. If we know that people have challenges walking to amenities, then let's bring residents and amenities closer. But they also need to be the right amenities. We often measure vibrancy of a city by the number of bustling cafes and bars, but there are spaces that aren't necessarily inclusive of older people or people on low incomes. When we have diverse amenities in a neighbourhood, that also creates a diverse neighbourhood community. But when amenities can't be within walking distance, we've talked about public transport being an extension of the walking journey, and so it's really important to have that first and last leg that we've heard about being accessible. But also we heard a strong desire to see the free shuttle bus back in the central city because of it extending the range for those central city residents.
So I'm going to bring you back to this map, and you can see that there are tons of useful amenities in our neighbourhood. No, Moa and Victoria are quite underserved by amenities, and perhaps this is why the residents were so keen on that free circulating shuttle bus that was here pre-quake. If we look at the map, we mapped out doctors, banks, post offices, and grocery stores, and those circles give some sort of indication of a 400-metre radius. So how far people might consider walking. So a crucial result from our results was that grocery stores are needed in this neighbourhood, and people have to travel quite some distance to get to their grocery stores. We found 80% of people didn't want to be reliant on a car, but yet a third had to drive for their daily errands. 2 years on, and I actually live in the Moa neighbourhood, and gosh, the supermarkets are really far away with their massive car parks. Anyway, We found that people were really fond of pre-earthquake amenities as well, and talked about it being easy to walk around because they had those amenities close by and they could choose to be less car dependent. People have really strong social memories of the place and how it used to be. We consider some of the fast food restaurants on Victoria Street, Victoria Square. Where am I talking about? There's a fast food restaurant that used to be a grocery store. That's how the neighbourhood has changed. In general, people were walking a lot, but this didn't translate into people using walking as a transport option to get to their amenities.
And so our third theme builds on what Simon talked about in terms of bumping spaces, but Sarah also talked about how when we design streets where people want to be, they're far better designed than corridors of travel. And so when people are spending time in the streets, that's where community is built. We have those bumping spaces, and it just creates a sense of attraction for people spending time. This builds a sense of community around the neighbourhood, which is particularly important for older people who may have higher rates of loneliness, and that sense of community can also enable them to be independent and remain living in their neighbourhood longer, which we refer to as ageing in place. That then creates a diverse neighbourhood when you've got older people adding value to the community, but also they have a greater sense of livelihood when the community is adding to their lives too.
So we found that walking had a key relationship with community. People really chose to walk. It was a motivator for walking because of community. Almost all residents saw and spoke to others whilst out walking, and seeing neighbours and catching up with friends was a key motivator for getting out and walking. People did want to see more community-orientated spaces, the third places, that are neither work or home, and that would give them another reason to walk or another place to walk to. People described that a key reason they came to this central city neighbourhood was that it was easy to walk around in, and that 9 out of 10 participants coming to these neighbourhoods described that. So these concepts of walkability, or making places walkable and easy to get around for older adults, are really common themes of the conference. But thinking of or designing for older adults in our planning, design and decision making is critical for ensuring neighbourhoods are inclusive for all. We believe that including older people makes our neighbourhoods better for everyone. Ka mutu a mātou kōrero ke tēnei whakatauki, mā te tuakana te teina e tōtika, mā te teina e tuakana e tōtika. The older will lead the younger, and the younger will lead the older. Nō reira, tēnā koutou katoa. Kia ora.